Good evening. Welcome, everybody. It's good to be here with you all virtually across Facebook and across YouTube. For those who are picking us up right now, do us a favor. Just leave some comments in the threads. We'll be responding over the course of the conversation tonight. And also if you're in Facebook, if you're in YouTube, go ahead and share, do a watch party, let other folks know what's going on. I'm here with my incredible brothers, Reverend Jerrell Riggins, M.Div MBA from Green Street Baptist Church, here with Reverend Kahlil Carmichael, MAPCC M.Div from Live Well Church. I'm Saeed Richardson coming at you from American Baptist on Mission Societies, and we are coming at you with a series that we're looking to put on every single month called Faith and Fitness, and today's focus is on matters of the heart. Now, we've got to do all of our right notions and give props to everybody who deserves. So we first need to tell you that we are sponsored this episode, and these episodes are sponsored by the American Baptist National Network of Chaplains, Pastoral Counselors, Spiritual Directors, Specialized Ministers, and a special shout out to Dr. Patricia Murphy, who runs all this stuff at the American Baptist Home Mission Society. So we also want to give them a big cred. American Baptist Home Mission Societies, who's doing a lot of great stuff. And if you haven't already heard, you'll definitely want to sign up for our Space for Grace conference that's coming up September 21st to 23rd. Really, really great stuff right there. So again, today, Matters of the Heart, March 15, 2022. And we're coming at you just talking a real talk, real talk. You know how oftentimes when we get together in church spaces, we can say anything and everything, and we can sound a whole lot more holy about everything that's going on. But this is meant to be real down earth talk, combining faith and fitness inspired programming to positively impact the physical and the spiritual lives of everyone, with a particular focus on men across this country. So with that, it's a blessing to be here. I'm going to pass it on to my brother, uh, Kahlil, who's going to lead us into this space as we take some time today and talk about what it means to reassess, to focus on routine, and to have rest. My brother?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate it. Listen, Pastor, can we just open up in prayer just really
Let's
quick?
do that. Let's do that.
It's about 30 seconds of prayer. Dear God, we thank you for being with us today. We thank you for your grace and mercy. We thank you for just covering us, Lord. Let the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight. O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. And we thank you for giving us wisdom and knowledge, understanding, helping us, Lord, to share information that will set the captives free, that will set us free, that will help us go higher, that will help us live well, live whole, and live free. It is in your strong name that we pray, the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen, brother.
So thank you, Reverend Saeed, and our brother Jerrell, Reverend Jerrell, Pastor Jerrell. He's not on right now. I think he's having some technical difficulties. But I want to thank Dr. Murphy for allowing me to be here in this space tonight in American Baptist. I'm so grateful. For those that don't know, my name is Kahlil Carmichael, and I've been doing this fitness thing for over 25 years. I'm known as the fitness doctor, believe it or not.
Yes, sir.
I've been an owner of personal training studios for many years, and many people know that I've taken my knowledge of fitness and health and combined it with ministry, and now I minister to the entire person holistically through Live Well Church in Windsor, New Jersey. And so I'm just grateful to be here today, and I cannot wait to get into this conversation because I'm passionate about health for all people, but especially men, because we, myself included, sometimes we, whoa,
Tell the truth.
whoa,
Tell the truth.
whoa. Sometimes, man, we are stubborn.
Sometimes it's more oftentimes than sometimes.
Right. And so tonight, I'm praying that tonight will be fruitful, and not to beat the brothers up, but just to kind of share this information and let them know that we're on this journey together. We're on this healing journey together.
Yes, we are. Brother Jerrell, you gonna get in there? Probably not. I'll give a little intro to myself. Reverend Saeed Richardson. I've been pastoring for 23 years. I started out in the African Methodist Episcopal Church, and about going on 9 years ago, I switched over to American Baptist, and so I still got my AME roots. They're still wrapped up in here, and so praise God that we have many sheep of many fold who come together to do God's work. Right. Primarily doing mission in rural, extreme rural and extreme urban areas. And so I've been in my first churches that I pastored were in very rural areas in rural Virginia and North Carolina. And as of recently shifted over to more urban places like Chicago and areas north of Chicago as well. Really fortunate to also, since September, have moved and transitioned from Chicago to Philadelphia area. And so I'm here working at the American Baptist Home Mission Societies in a very unique role. I'm actually the Director of Information Technology Management, but don't get that twisted. In that space, it's still ministry. I'm providing the backbone, the foundational ministry for all of the mission programs that we are doing here at the organization. And so that means everything that we're doing from disaster relief to help support to work in all the states and in Puerto Rico and Alaska as well, providing mission inspiration, the love of Christ and all the work that goes on, but also providing the ability to be able to connect and collaborate and be able to make sure that in the midst of all that goes on, as we're very familiar within the pandemic, being able to connect with each other as well. And then soon to also be involved in some digital advocacy and bringing some faith perspectives to how we see and communicate in this digital divide as well, making sure that we can do our work because even pastors need to be able to connect virtually as well as physically in the world that we live in. Brother Jerrell is having some problems connecting, so if he's able to get together, we'll definitely give him an opportunity to give himself a thumb up. But Brother Kahlil, if you want to just sort of move us into our content, we can take it from there.
Yeah, so we all purpose to come together tonight. Dr. Murphy brought us together, and Patricia Murphy brought us together, and we decided that we're going to talk about reassess, routine, and rest. We're going to talk about those three things tonight: to reassess, routine, and rest. And Pastor, if you don't mind, maybe I'll just take us right on into reassess.
Sounds great, brother.
So you know that we have been dealing with this pandemic. That's something that all of us have been impacted by, and we're reassessing everything. We're reassessing how we do church. You're talking about the digital space and the need for virtual support, and so we've had to reassess everything. Our streaming we just went over our budget in our church, and the streaming is a big part of our budget now. It's a tremendous part. And we've had to reassess everything about ministry, but we've also had to reassess our lives, being at home, working from home. My wife is right in her office next door on a Zoom call late at night. And so that's invading our space, our time together as a family, because now we have access. Everyone has access to us via Zoom and the digital platforms. But we've also had to reassess, how we handle our health. We're wearing masks, where many have been vaccinated and boosted. I'm a hospice chaplain for Penn Medicine in Princeton, so I've also had to reassess how I meet with patients and those who are on hospice service. Oftentimes I'm in full PPE. I've had to reassess everything, but I've also had to reassess my workout. I had to look at it and see what's working. For a time we couldn't get to a gym. And although I own a gym, I still won't work out there. I'll go to another gym because it's a place of respite and rest, and I can get away. But I've had to reassess because the gym was shut down. My gym was shut down. So what do? I had to reassess. I couldn't stop working out. I couldn't give up on my health, my wellness. So I had to reassess. And, I had to look at what was working and what wasn't working. The definition for reassess is consider or assess again, especially while paying attention to new or different factors. I mean, that's powerful right there. To consider or assess again, that's reassess, especially while paying attention to new or different factors. There's been some new and different factors with our workouts. I have to work out with a mask now. I have to, I'm older now. I'm a couple years older now than I was before the pandemic, and so Yeah. I got to tell you, man, I went to the gym this morning and I was lifting weights and I was tempted to put all this weight on and lift, but I can't lift that heavy weight anymore. I have a little joint problem right here. I'm not trying to show you my biceps, I promise. I have a little joint issue right here, and I can't lift the same amount of weight, so I had to reassess.
Mhm.
And I think that's important for brothers to know that it's okay to reassess, to assess again, especially while paying attention to new or different factors such as diabetes or
Mhm.
hypertension. You have to work out a certain way if you've been diagnosed with hypertension. There's something called the Valsalva maneuver where you can't hold your breath while you're exerting force because that will
Mhm.
spike your blood pressure. So you have to learn how to work out and exercise and reassess for where you are now. For where you are now. What do you think about that, Rev?
Brother, I'm there with you. I don't have that bicep problem that you have. I'm working over getting mine up there. Um, brother, it's interesting because I'm also feeling, um, in terms of reassessing, like how we have relationships and how we sustain connection with each other.
Hmm.
And so I'm particularly thinking like me and and my mind always goes back to the group of brothers. We'd always come together every Tuesday night, and we call it the brothers game night. We would come together. We'd play Monopoly. We would play card games. We would play sometimes video games. But it was just a moment for us to just come together to separate from the rest of the work,
Hmm.
rest of the life, from our
Hmm.
relationships, and just be in proximity with each other. Obviously, with the pandemic hitting and everything like that, we can't always do that. And then
Right.
particularly a lot of us who might have been a part of like contact sports. I used to play rugby.
Right.
I know other brothers that would play, soccer or football. But the things that, we as fellas oftentimes do when we come together, even like sitting together and watching the game,
Right.
to sort of like, build our emotional and psychological, connections as well is there. So we've had to really take and reassess. And I know that one thing that me and that group of brothers have done, it ain't always the same, but, we just have little Zoom house parties, where we all roll together and we just sort of sit and we make as if we are in this space together. It doesn't, it ain't the same, but it's at least something that we're trying to do to sustain that. And so I guess I'm thinking to myself, it's really good for us to be about reassessing how we are doing the physical. We need that, but I think it's also really important to reassess how we're doing the psychological and the connectional,
Right.
because
Right.
when we don't have that, that's also a strain and a pain that we're navigating through as well.
Right. So we've had to reassess the spiritual, the psychological, emotional connection, the physical. What about reassessing our relationships to and our connection to our physicians?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
with this COVID thing, you know, my physician has become my best friend.
Hmm.
And so I've had to reassess. I have to tell you, man, I'm over a certain age, and so I was,
You
so I
keep
was,
saying it, brother. We both over that certain age.
and so I had to go, and get a colonoscopy, and I was
Mm,
about 4 years behind, 4 years
mm,
behind schedule. Man, this pandemic and what we've been through with this has made me reassess my relationship with my health, not just my physical fitness, but my physical fitness and health. And I went and got that colonoscopy, man, and I got a clean bill of health, and I was so grateful for that. I think Pastor Jerrell is here.
we got him. Hey, Pastor Jerrell, if you can, maybe it'll help. You just want to turn that video off and just see if you can just run straight through the audio. We'll at least be able to hear you. You can do that. I know he has something good to say.
I know he does, man. I know he wants to get on. But yeah, that's a great idea to disconnect from the video and call in or connect to the audio only. Maybe you should go back out and connect to the audio only.
There you go. Well,
Rev, I don't know if this is something we could do, but also, maybe we can tell those who are watching if they want to put some questions in or comments in the chat.
yeah, definitely.
What
Yeah, I see we got some folks on um, the Facebook channel. There's actually somebody on YouTube as well. If y'all want to drop comments in whatever platform you're in, questions or comments, definitely feel free to do so. In Facebook, you know how to add comments, and YouTube, you know how to add comments. Do that. We'll get them in here in the studio. We can show them on the screen, and we can also answer any questions you might have. All
Yeah,
right.
let's open it up for dialogue. But that whole reassess piece is, I think, important for everyone, especially for men as we consider, our health, our psychological connections, our relationships. Everything has changed, and so there's something new and different happening. So it's time to reassess,
Yeah,
especially based upon the different factors.
definitely.
I don't want to talk all night now. I don't want to, I could, but
It's all right. Why don't you go ahead and bring us on to we'll just for the sake of time, we'll just move on to routine and keep it going on.
yeah, sure. So the next piece is our routine, So we've reassessed and we figured out what's working and what's not working. And once you figure out what's working and what's not working based upon what you reassess, it's time to implement some changes. And implementation, one of the greatest things that we can do as far as implementation is to create a routine. Um, Habitual actions, they create a successful life. For me, the routine is everything. Routine serves as an anchor for me. I do the same thing every morning when I wake up. As a matter of fact, I just had to reassess my workout based on some new work factors and some things that are happening with the church, that I had to reassess my routine, and I had to change some things. And I had to go from working out um, in the evening to back to the morning. I had to switch back to working out in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to reassess and readjust my routine, and I had to shorten my prayer time from 4 to 4. I pray from 4 to 4:30. Um, get ready, out the door to the gym by 5:15. Finished at 6, and then we have a daily prayer call at 6:30. And then after that, I'm to my office by 7:15, and then I start my day, and I'm there all day. And that routine works for me. If I didn't have a routine, I would miss my workout, and I was missing my workout. I'm telling you the truth. I would get down and do some push-ups and crunches and things like that, but I was missing my gym time because my day got busy. So I had to reassess, and then I had to implement and incorporate a new routine.
Yeah. Pastor Jerrell, are you in there with us? All right. Still working on that. Pastor Kahlil, you and I talked about this. We talked about this a few weeks back.
You did.
And I confess that the challenge for me is uh, every morning, like life is just sort of a whirlwind of things. I've got young kids, a middle schooler and a high schooler. So not too young, but they're young enough to be active enough to sort of get in the way of um, the stability of my time. And so what I've done in light of being able to set a routine is that I set targets. And so I have, when I wake up every day, there are things that I know I have to get done. I've got to drink a glass of water. I've got to get my vitamins and my supplements in.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to take a cold shower. I've got to have my prayer. I've got to have my time of just silent meditation. I got to
Right.
have my time of affirmation. And I have to have within that first hour of waking up at least, a 10 to 15 minutes of just getting my blood, flowing, either doing push-ups or something like that. And so for
Right.
me, in light of not having that lockdown like you have, um, I just sort of set myself, do I get bullets? And I have like a a notebook that I keep inside of Apple Notes with like each of these things sort of listed as a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's like as long as I can get those bullets clicked,
Right.
If I can get them within that first 3 hours of the day, then I'm reaching a measure of success. And so I know many folks are going to say, life is chaotic. Every day is not the same. I've got kids. I've got, all kinds of things that are changing. And so if you can't hit those marks, kind of saying what you're saying, maybe a suggestion is to just block out like the 5 or the 6 things that are most important to you to get done early in the morning. And just as a measure of success, get the blocks filled in, even if they're out of order. Sometimes because of what's going on, I get out the
Right.
house and I get to the office, but I do every week. I put my pills in a little pill box, and so I take my little pill box for the day with my morning, afternoon, and evening pills with me. That way, I can, if I miss it at home, I got them with me when I get to work, when I get my cup of coffee or something
Right.
like that. And so,
Well,
however you can make routine work for you, make routine work. Find a way to sort of have a consistency. It ain't got to be like 5 or 6 things either. It was just like the 3 or 5 most important things you got to get done. Lock in on those and just do your best to make it happen.
well, Rev, you're absolutely right. Routine. There's something called a principle of specificity as it pertains to exercise. So there are 5 or 6 principles of exercise, overload principle, yada yada. But one principle, the principle of specificity, that means exercise has to be specific to the individual. It can't be cookie cutter.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the same thing with routine. That's the same thing with our life, with the whole thought of a routine. It has to be specific to the individual. There's a principle of specificity. And so you're right. I think everyone is different. And I think what makes a person, what really inspires or motivates a person is different for each person. Like I must pray when I wake up. I have to pray. If I don't pray, I mean, people are liable to say I'm everything but a child of God. And so, and so I have to pray. I must work out in the morning. I must get my workout in. I must listen to my music every morning. And so those routines work for me because a routine is like you said, it's not this stringent thing, but it is a roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
It's a roadmap to kind of start you so you don't go off the guardrail. So if you have your routine, you don't do things like jump back in the bed.
That's the thing right there, brother.
Right, right.
Yep,
You,
that's
you
that's
wake
real.
up and then without a routine, you will. I don't know about you, but I would. Some mornings I'm tired. I'm like, Lord have mercy, and I want to jump back in the bed. But my routine is what keeps me gets me through the day. And if something is off,
Yeah.
I'm off. And so that's what a routine does. And I would encourage all those who are listening
Mm-hmm.
to try to establish a routine that works for
For
you. I,
you,
I too have
hey.
I have 2 children in high school, a 17-year-old, 15-year-old, and I have my 13-year-olds in 8th grade. And and when I shifted back to the morning of going to the gym, that's taken away from my time with them in the morning. Because I would be with them in the morning, I would talk to them, I would pray
Mm-hmm.
with them. They were comfortable with seeing me do the prayer call in the morning, but I had to shift and change my routine to fit what was happening now.
Yeah. For the record, I have an app that I use that when the alarm goes off, I have to stand up and spin around in a circle. Um, and so part of my wake up routine is that when it goes off, I gotta put my fingers in a certain way
Right,
and rotate around and make it happen. So
right.
yeah.
So I do something like that. So when my alarm goes off, now I need that app that you're talking about. But when my alarm goes off, I do something called the rocket launch. So I'm in the bed, man, and when my alarm goes off, if I don't start the countdown, I'm going to hit snooze.
Oh
So
yes, sir.
as soon as that alarm goes off, I go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I jump out of bed,
There you go.
and that helps me. That helps me.
Yeah.
I mean, soon as I hit that alarm, I start my countdown. 5, 4, 3,
Mm-hmm.
2, 1, up, and I keep going. Because
There
if
you
I
go.
don't, I'm in trouble. So a routine is so important. So important.
Definitely, definitely.
So next, what do we have? So we've been talking about reassess. We've been talking about our routine, and now we want to get to
Mm.
rest. Rest, rest, rest. That's a biggie right there.
It is, man.
You lead us. You start us off with rest. You go ahead. Go ahead on. I want.
And so I wanna ask a question.
Okay.
So I'm not really answering your question, but so one confession: rest has been probably the greatest challenge for me
Mm-hmm.
for a mighty long time. I've been multi-vocational all my life.
Right.
I've pastored and I've had at least two other jobs at the same time while it's all happening. I've always pastored churches um, that did not have a whole lot in terms of being able to support me financially.
Right.
It's just that's the nature of things, and it's not unusual. It's you know vast number of churches across the country and the world are pastored by are churches that can't necessarily support a full time pastor and the work that they do. So I just confess that rest has always been a challenge for me. The whole notion of finding a Sabbath in the midst of a 7 day work week um, is immensely difficult.
Right.
Uh, and not that it's right, wrong, or indifferently. It's just sort of what the situation is. Um, I had a conversation with someone a number of years ago, and it really messed me up because it made me think not just of people who are pastoring, but just how particularly with the increase in how much things cost, interest rates, all that kind of stuff. The greater of the gap between the rich and the poor, the affluent and not so affluent. The whole notion of being able to rest can oftentimes feel like it is a privilege that not everyone has the access to. And so um, I know in my mind's eye, when I think about the answers to this question, I'm thinking, well, we need to find a way because at the end of the day, the human body cannot go indefinitely without having rest.
Right.
And I'll even add to this, there's a whole concept of something that's called John Henryism.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds crazy, but if you think about John Henry,
Mm-hmm.
the folk and or real life person who
Mm-hmm.
went up against a steam engine,
Mm-hmm.
worked and worked and worked, and when he got through the end, he beat the steam engine, got to his family, he died.
Right.
And there was a seminal study that was done in the 80s around a researcher that had talked specifically about how Black men and women work really, really, really hard on their lives. And when they get to a point where they can actually enjoy some of the fruits of their labor, they have worked so hard that they have strained their bodies, made themselves subject to a lot of different health deficiencies, and they have a short time in which they can live to enjoy the benefits of that. So I'm sort of taking all that in. And then, brother, can you speak to how, like, practically we make Sabbath a part of our life, even when we are busy and we are working beyond, the 5 hour work week?
Yeah. Yeah, man. It is. It has been something that I've struggled with for so long, man. The Sabbath rest, and I had to make peace of it. I had to make peace with it. Now, one thing. Let's differentiate between rest and sleep.
Hmm.
Okay, because like to your point, we're going to have to sleep. We're going to shut down. I mean, and I'm a brother of a certain age, so I don't care when it gets when it gets like 9:30, 10. I'm getting ready to doze off.
Oh, wow.
And that's just how it is. And because I'm up early, I'm up at like 4 o'clock every morning, 3:34
Yeah.
every day. But I had to learn the importance of rest, not just for physical replenishment, but for psychological, emotional, and rest for me is really, um, try, not doing any work, and it's so difficult. So what this wasn't my suggestion. Actually, a female, a Lutheran pastor who just happens to be female, she said to me, you might want to think of half day or compartmental Sabbaths.
Hmm.
So what she was saying is, like on Saturday, for instance, I have to go to my gym, the fitness doctor, in the morning. Saturday morning, I go there from about 8 o'clock to 10:30, and I go there and I train people, work with the trainers, all of that. And then after 10:30, my day is pretty much family, and do errands and
Hmm.
family. Unless I have a wedding, unless there's something going on, but And what I do, man, after I leave the fitness doctor, run some errands, and then get home like 12 or 1, I rest. And then I have to get up, and then we have a prayer call on Saturday night, to kind of ground us and prepare us for Sunday worship. But up until that prayer call, I rest. And I try to do what I want to do, man. I try to rest. I try to I make a sandwich if I want to make a sandwich. I sit on the floor if I want to sit on the floor in the family room.
Mm.
I stay out of my office. I go upstairs in my bedroom. I have this chair in my bedroom. I sit on this chair, man. I just sit there. I try to stay off the phone, social media, so I rest. And I just want to encourage, what you're saying is so true, Rev, about us working and then not enjoying the fruits of our labor. God rest her soul. My mother-in-law, 62 years old, man, worked 24 hours a day sometimes, and she was a nurse and has so much, amassed so much money and wealth. You understand? But died at 62, right before she was about to retire. And she worked herself to death, literally. And so you're right, man. So I'm really trying to make sure that I incorporate that whole notion of rest. And even if I can't take an entire Sabbath like my Jewish brothers and sisters, an entire Saturday, just that 12 to 6, or Monday, finishing my day and then taking the evening Sabbath. I try to get it in.
Yeah. I think one of the most riveting things that ever happened to me, I went through last year, actually, as a matter of fact, but prior to this, other things that happened. I went through a really weird condition where all of a sudden my blood pressure just started going up, and the docs could not figure out how to bring it down.
Oh my God.
By the time I got to the hospital, my blood pressure was abysmal. It was like 298 over 191. So it was just like it was just. I mean, they were so.
Oh, that's
right. They were really concerned, and so I went into the hospital. I was in for a whole week. Every 6 hours, somebody's coming to me saying, "What's going on? How are you feeling?"
Right.
Trying all kinds of. I was in an IV until they could finally find a right medication to bring it down. They could not figure out what was going on. In the midst of that moment, I remember having a conversation with my wife. Second conversation with my wife, but she was, she told me her father died when she was 11 years old. And she told me, don't let your daughter lose her father.
Wow.
Before she graduates high school. Kind of messed me up.
Wow.
But what it did for me is it sort of gave me a catalyst to think to myself, what am I really living for?
Right.
In light of everything that's going on. And so it began to sort of set in my head. It's always there. We always think about we want to take care of our family. But we also don't think that the best way to take care of our family is to take care of ourselves as well. And rest being a core part of that. And so one of the big pulls for me is to find something to live for.
Right.
And if I tell myself that living for my wife, living for my children is something core to live for, then what am I doing to make sure that I have a quality of life in which I can live for as well as with them on this side of eternity?
Right.
And then, research, this, brother, better than I do. Research has shown that rest, you can work it all you want to. You can have a really great, diet and everything. But at the end of the day, your body needs rest to reap the benefits of working out, to reap the benefits of eating well and that kind of thing as well. So if we want to have a life worth living for the people whom we love, we've got to take care of ourselves. And a core part of that is making rest. And I love how you said, it's not just sleep, but it's rest as a core part of our life.
Yeah, man. Rev, I'm telling you, like I have learned that rest for me is holy. We know the Sabbath is holy, we know that, but
Yeah.
Rest. Just like I said, man, just laying on the floor. They have this big. I love Costco, So they have this big giant floor pillow that you can get at Costco for like $25 or
I
something.
might have to go get one of those, brother.
Man, I put that on my. You see these hardwood floors? I put that on the floor, and I lay on that like a baby. Let me say this now. This is real. Um, I work with this Hindu surgeon one time, and at being a chaplain, I'm dealing with a lot of people, multi-faith and all of that. And so I love listening to different spiritual principles and exercises and things that people do. And I remember the best advice that this physician, this surgeon gave me. And he said, and I'm going to imitate him, but I'm not imitating Indian people. He said, Kahlil, Kahlil, he said, be like a baby. Jesus said, be childlike.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, be like a baby. And what he was saying is, we talked about some things, what that looked like. And one of the things that came up was taking a nap, resting, not being afraid to just get on, I don't know about you. Remember when we would come home from school?
Oh, yeah.
And we
would
take
a nap.
Man, and Spider-Man or the Flintstones would be on.
Bro.
You would eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I would eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I would lay on the floor with my leg and I would wake up and I would feel like, where am I? I would feel bliss. Bliss. That's what we need. That's what we need in our life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We need to experience that bliss that comes from rest. God knew what she was talking about. God said that rest on the seventh day, rest.
Amen.
And I'm telling you, man, my Jewish,
yes, some amens coming through the chats, brother. So.
I see that. My Jewish brothers and sisters, man, the ones that observe the Sabbath, Shabbat Shalom, man, they are, many of them, the ones that I know, are peaceful, and they got they got that thing down pat. Rest. So what do we do? Do we, what should we do? What are you going to do this weekend to get some rest?
Brother, so I recognize the challenge, but I've made a point to just make it happen. It's by any means necessary.
Right.
So for me, I do a couple different things. One thing that I love hiking. I love going out in the woods, and so we made a point to. I take my kids sometimes, my wife all the time, the dogs with me, and we will just go out we'll find a trail, a bunch of different places to go, and we will just walk and just breathe, and just be outside. And then somewhere along the way, we find a place to just sit and park and just admire the beauty that God gives us that we oftentimes glance over. So being outside and just, observing what God has blessed this earth with is a great joy for me. I do confess as well, something that I really enjoy. I enjoy playing video games. So don't get to do it a whole lot, but whenever I can, I'll sit down and I've been playing through Cyberpunk for the last year and a half. I enjoy role-playing games, and so just being able to just sit down, and I got a chair in my office. It might be akin to the chair that you have, but I sit in that chair, and that's I call it my booty chair because it's like it's conformed to me just the right way. But that's my space to go to just to separate and to be. And the other thing, you got your big blanket for the ground.
No, it's a pillow. It's a pillow like.
My wife introduced me to weighted blankets.
Yes.
Weighted blankets, I think, oh my goodness, those are the best things that I will take, and I will lay straight on the carpet and drop that weighted blanket on me. And it's just like, I feel like just somebody just wrapping their arms around me and just hugging and squeezing, man. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
my weighted blanket.
Let me ask you this: everything you named,
Yeah.
heated blanket, the booty chair, the video games, the hiking, all of that, the video games. I got one question for you.
Mhm.
Does it give rest to your weary soul?
Oh, brother, yeah, it does.
Then that's God,
Yeah,
because Jesus said, "Come all
yeah.
weary and heavy laden burden, and I will give you rest, not sleep,
Yeah.
rest." So what he's talking about is this rest, this place
Hmm.
of peace, this place of respite,
Rejuvenation.
rejuvenation.
Yes, sir.
And we avoid it, and we must not avoid this type of rest that God is encouraging us
Mm.
to incorporate in our life. I want to challenge everybody that's on the Zoom call tonight, that's listening now and will listen late. I want to give you an exercise. I give out physical exercises. I want to give you a spiritual exercise as
Come
well.
on now.
So I want to encourage you to find 2 days out of the week
Mm.
where you can take between those 2 days 6 hours, not to sleep. If you fall asleep, maybe I'm not knocking anybody that falls asleep, but just maybe rest. Whether that's going for a hike, uh, sitting in the park, laying on your big Costco pillow, uh, sitting in your car
Mm.
and looking at a lake in the park. Oh my goodness! Open up the sunroof and just sit there. Don't listen to any music. No music. No music.
Mm.
Nothing. Just sit there and be still. I heard you say that, Rev. I heard you say be. Just be.
Yep.
And do that 2 times per week, 6 hours combined. I want to challenge you to do that. For you, not for anybody else, not for me, not for
Amen to
your
that.
wife, not for your husband, not for your children. I want you to be intentional about taking that time, and I want you to experience the fullness of God within that.
Mm.
Don't pray now. No praying. No, don't you dare pray. Because you're gonna start praying and you're gonna get off track.
And fall
Just,
asleep.
just, just, just,
Just be.
just be.
Yeah.
Just be.
Mm. Well, amen, brother. It's been good. We're running about time now.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How long
Yeah.
was this supposed to be? It was.
45.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. That was fast. That was fun. That was fun.
It goes quick, brother.
I feel like a baby. I'm having so much fun.
Pastor Kahlil,
Yes, sir.
be a baby.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Oh man.
You
Well,
want
look,
to? Are we gonna take any questions, or do you want to close us in prayer? Well, how do you want to handle this?
somebody's Jerrell was dropping in for us on the other end. TDJ Books instinct says to slow down and focus.
Slow
Thanks, brother
down
Jerrell.
and focus. Yes, slow down and focus. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Pastor.
Mm. Well, amen to that. Well, we don't have any questions right now, so
So reassess, look at what's not working, make some changes, get a new routine, develop a routine if you don't have one, and it's specific for you. It's specific to you. You can't do what another man or woman does. Find what works for your life. Everybody's life is different. And then rest. Not just sleep, but rest.
mm,
Rest.
amen to that.
We should write a book. Be like a baby.
Mm.
Jesus said it. Be childlike.
Mm-hmm.
Have fun. Rest. Rest. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Blessings, love, peace, and joy. May the great God of the universe grant you the capacity to reassess, to find routine, and to find rest for yourself. Amen. Glory be to God. We look forward to seeing you again next month. Bring some other folks. We're planning on being here every month on the second Tuesday. What is it? The second or the third Tuesday? Whatever Tuesday this is.
The second Tuesday. I think this is
the second Tuesday every month. We're looking forward to bringing it back to you.
Right.
And yeah. Amen. Blessings and peace to you. And we'll see you in a bit.
God bless everyone. We'll have Pastor Jerrell with us next time.
Yes, we will.
That's straight up.
Oh, wow. We got there's a bunch of things popping up on the screen. We got some thank you. That's about the book.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Payne is coming in. Great information so far. I'm just taking it in.
Deacon Payne.
Great jobs. Thank you, Shelley. And thank you, Michael, as well. All right. Blessings and peace to you all. Be well.
Blessings and peace, everyone. God bless. Live well, live whole, live free.
Amen.
Live well and prosper.